There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Sebastian Rusk. My goodness, sometimes you gotta just start over, huh? Holy cow, technology. I read Death of the PowerPoint by Seth Godin, and I said I would never have another. You're taking pictures, right? Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure. So a room full of PR professionals. When I got this phone call, I said, absolutely, if my calendar is available, I want to be there, because this is the most PR professionals I've been in front of that have had their absolute undivided attention. You folks are some very, very unique individuals with the attention span, and I totally get it. Let me start with, social media sucks if you don't know what you're doing. I got cast for a reality show about 3 years ago on Fox, and I had to fly to New York for the day to meet with the producers. It was a day trip. I left at 6 a.m., came back at 7 p.m. I flew into the city. My meeting was literally 15 minutes. They want to look at you. They ask you when you want to be on the show. They beat you up a little bit. They never tell you you're on the show. And they say, we hope to see you soon. They kick you out in about 15 minutes. So I had the whole day. So naturally, like any tourist would do in New York City, I wandered over to Times Square. And I'm standing in the advertising mecca of the world. Yet everyone's looking down at their phone. I thought, wow, we are in the middle of an incredible shift in the way we communicate. In fact, I think that shift may have already taken place. If people aren't on Facebook these days, I'd say, you're shady. What are you hiding? I don't do that Facebook thing. Oh, you're one of those. It opened my mind to help me better understand that we are, in fact, living in the age of disruption. Would everyone agree with that? We really are. If you don't believe me, just ask Blockbuster. I don't know why they didn't put those blue boxes in Publix first. I'll never quite understand that. Today I'm here to talk to you about why social media sucks if you don't know what you're doing. Maybe I can rephrase it and say, today I'm here to talk to you about social media sucks if not properly executed. It's about becoming the go-to source for what you do. It's like that friend you can call for anything. 3 o'clock in the morning, car broke down on the side of 95. Friend doesn't think about anything. They just get up and they go. Or maybe you're that person for someone. Friends, today I invite you to consider the idea of becoming that as a brand, as an agency. Becoming the go-to source for what you do. Does anybody have a go-to source in their life? For business, for personal, for whatever it may be? Everyone does. When you make that emotional connection with people, you tug on their heartstrings a little bit. When you tug on their heartstrings a little bit, you make an emotional connection with them. And when you make an emotional connection with them, you can get them to do things like buy from you, publish your story, communicate with you. I continually have tried to move the ball down the field in the world of public relations and social media, because I think a lot of the waters have gotten muddy, because you guys are now responsible in a client's eyes, in a client's budget. That's all inclusive, right? Get me stories, get me coverage, get me everything, and don't forget about those Facebook posts. It's become an afterthought. Now, where's it become something that's been incredible for you guys to utilize is the kind of the backdoor entrance with the media. Direct messages, tweets, Facebook messages, LinkedIn, etc. But today I want to talk to you about 5 things that I think you guys should be doing. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I really am, because I'm friends with a lot of publicists. I do a lot of business with agencies and PR people, and I get invited to all kinds of free stuff. It's awesome. Thank you guys so much for those invites. It's great. But today I want to talk to you about how maybe we can play a little bit nicer together, because it seems that PR is so threatened by the world of social media. They're using it, but it's like, what's going on in the world of social media? And I think the two coming together, there's never been a more powerful force than traditional media and new media. And once brands start to figure that out, once they start to realize that when we run an ad on the radio and we spend thousands of dollars for it, or we spend $3 million on a Super Bowl and Oreo comes in and doesn't spend $1, well, not as much as they did, and beats us out to it because their real-time marketing efforts are on point, I think people will eventually arrive at the game. So that's my book, Social Media Sucks If You Don't Know What You're Doing. I don't read books, but I wrote one. I got approached with an opportunity about 1.5 years ago with my publisher, Advantage Media Group, AdvantageFamily.com. If you want to write a book, they're the best. Met them in Philadelphia. They said, have you ever thought about writing a book? I said, I've thought about it a long time, but I just have not followed through with it. It's about 1.5 years of an ongoing project that I would rather wake up in the morning and eat my pillow than attempt to write another chapter. And they said, no problem, we've got a talk your book program. I said, great, because I can talk for weeks. They said, excellent. So we put a deal together, and it was a quick process. I think within 6 months, I might have broke a record with them. They said within 6 months turnaround time that they interviewed me on this hodgepodge manuscript that I had, made sense of it, and next thing I know, I had a book that showed up at my door. I think we started the process in October. First set of books were at my door in March. So here we are. It tells my story. It's not a how-to. There's plenty of how-tos out there. It gives you my story of how I built a brand from nothing. And when I say nothing, I decided to blaze my own trail and not go to college. I went off to, I got done with high school and decided to have a child. So science experiment worked, kids. So I moved to Chicago, got a big boy job from there, got another big boy job in Southern California, spent 8 years out there, doing extremely well for myself, completely irresponsible. I lost everything and showed up back in South Florida in 2008 with a duffel bag. And well, what used to be that little girl over there, she's quite a young lady now. So I said, well, I guess this is where chapter 2 begins. So after a couple of years of sucking my thumb and feeling sorry for myself, I said, I've got to do something with this social media thing because I'm on MySpace all day, remember that? Facebook, Twitter, I'm actually known as kind of a go-to source for social media. Again, it's not a business, so how do I make sense of all this? So I decided I would start running around town with a bow tie on the bus, didn't have a car, bus and a skateboard and a fake Rolex. And I'd show up and I'd meet people at networking events, and I started doing my own networking events. And I'd show up at a local restaurant like Morton's and say, hey, listen, I want to come here and bring 30 or 50 people here that don't currently know you on a Monday night, and this place sucks anyway. Can you give me a free drink and some appetizers? And then I want to come back tomorrow, and I want to bring everybody upstairs, and I want to do a social media boot camp. So people came to my networking events, they came to my social media boot camps, and they said, hey, Sebastian, well, maybe you can help me with my social media. So I launched the agency in November of 2011, learned a bunch of different lessons. The number one was, and I'm sure someone in this room can relate with me, my ideal client is not someone with a budget. Any person with a budget. It is really, and it's taken 5 years to really find that ideal client and make the agency what it is today. You can tweet me at Seb Rusk if you haven't already. Hashtag is social media sucks. Clicker needs to be on in order for it to work. There we go. I'm a social media strategist. There's a lot of those running around these days, but I've been in the game since 2004, so maybe I should call myself a social media pioneer maybe. But this stuff changes so fast and so rapid, and it's like just as soon as you get acclimated to a platform, something else pops up. There's my email address and my phone number. Remember those phone numbers? I still take phone calls. I know somebody was talking to the last panel here. We pick up the phone and pitch. I'm like, people answer? My agency has become, this happened just by default. It was started out as the guy that can help me out with social media, and then as I started SocialBuzzTV, like, what is this all about? Well, with new media on the rise, I wanted to make sure that I put my stake in the ground early and started this media outlet, which will soon be an empire. You hear me, universe? And so that I can control where the content goes and how I'm able to be presented and still invited in that whole media circle. So SocialBuzzTV has become an integrated marketing solution that helps businesses and brands build online communities using social media to create social buzz and local celebrity over their products and services, which increases their online presence and word-of-mouth marketing so they have more customers and diehard fans. Very comparable to public relations. I'm sure some of you will agree. The way that I've created and multi-layered the business and the agency is to be able to work with everybody. Because people say, I know somebody that does exactly what you do. And I say, no, you don't. Because they don't wear bow ties. I'm not this crazy. I want to be able to work with my peers. I want to be able to work with agencies. I want to be able to work with brands that have teams in-house. I want to work with small businesses, entrepreneurs, whatever the case may be. And that's what I've been able to do over the course of the past 3 years is, since figuring out who my ideal client is be able to align myself with individuals like yourself, where you've got NBC here featuring a story of whatever it may be, one of your clients, and before they can even get back to the news truck, I'm there with a bow tie, a camera crew, that means my cell phone, because you can shoot everything on a smartphone these days. I'm tweeting, I'm posting, I'm hashtagging, I'm periscoping. I've got content created, pushed out in real time, and a story done in the lobby over a cocktail before they even make it back to the news van. And I believe that that's extremely powerful. That message is not been able to penetrate the public relations world yet, but you guys have so much going on. It's all about the real time of what's happening in the client's end goal. There's a planning stage, but it's not a really, let's figure out how to collaborate. So I strongly encourage all of you to grab my card, and this isn't a pitch, kind of is, but grab my card to see what we can do to explore opportunities. Here's the campaigns that we're working on with clients. Here's some stuff we're involved with. Maybe we can bring the bow tie in. I'm an additional distribution network. I've got one heck of a personality, and I wear bow ties. So I think there's some added value to what you guys are doing there. Maybe I'm completely out of my tree, and somebody will pull me, and somebody's going to send me a tweet or message me and tell me I'm out of my tree, but that's okay. So one of my really good friends and mentors, I really look up to this guy. You might have heard of him, Bruce Turkel. So brilliantly says, your brand is not about you. First time he told me this, I'm like, jerk, right? Didn't get that. My brand. What do you mean it's not about me? It's about my bow tie. It's about. I was way off on all that. He broke me down to size real quick. But your brand is not about you. Your brand is about your product, your service, what they do for others. He follows it up to say a good brand makes you feel good. A great brand makes you feel good about yourself. Why am I bringing this up on a social media and public relations talk? Would you agree that some of your day-to-day activities and things that you're involved with would involve branding, a brand, an image? A lot of publicists, at least the ones that I know, make it about them. Sometimes it's not even about the client. It's just about them. Is my agency getting the exposure? Were we able to hang our hat saying we covered that story, we got that story, or that nailed that exclusive? We made it about the client. We focused on making them the go-to source. How much longer are they going to hang out with us? How much longer are they going to be a client? Social media and public relations. These are just some things that I think are important for you guys to add in. Now, these aren't game changers, but there may be some things you're not doing. There may be some things you are doing. And if there's something you're already familiar with, then feel free to say we already know that. But the first thing is the content that's being created. I think it's just a rush process. It's just oh yeah, did you get the Facebook? Did you get it out on Facebook? Oh, I gotta go back to our day. Did you get that tweet out? Yeah, okay. Did you copy and paste those 400 hashtags so we get a bunch of followers we have no idea who they are? Take the time to create awesome content. Sebastian, who's got time to create awesome content? We've got stories to cover. We've got media to pitch. We have PR to do. Well, I think this is part of the process. I utilize tools that I'm going to show you in just a minute to be able to make sure that everyone knows that I'm not just giving a talk about social media on a Friday morning. I'm hanging out with these awesome, awesome people that are part of PRSA West Palm Beach, right? I want to let them know. I took a picture out there by the apron there. I had my book there. It was like, I want to brand you. It's not about me. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. So I want to talk about you guys. I want to create content around what the specific story's about. Here's some tips for creating awesome content. Number one, keep your audience in mind. Again, it's not about you. It's not about us. It's not about your brand. It's about the people that are consuming this, the people that are reading the story, the people that are seeing the coverage, the people that are watching the crisis, watching the building burn down. Anybody from Subway in the house? Too soon. Too soon. They are screwed up, man. Use online data to stay on top of trends. Google Trends, Facebook, well, that's a bunch of crap. It's usually the Kardashians, but it allows you to stay on top of what's taking place. Sebastian, why are you talking about this? Because if it's your responsibility to correctly position your client in the public's eye, it's also 9 times out of 10 you're probably helping them out with their social media as well. So it's important that you're not just talking about their product, their brand, their product. You're staying on top of trending things that are taking place. Google.com/trends does an incredible job of showing us exactly what's taking place in real time. Let's start talking about it. Everyone else is. Is that all we talk about? No. But it's important. You ever log on to Facebook and you see all your friends have shared one specific article because it's popular? There's a reason for that. Imagine being able to get in that lineup as a brand. I mean, that's the way that you're able to get any type of organic exposure as a brand on Facebook these days. And number 3, make it easy. I'll never understand this. I'll never understand social icons on the bottom of a website. I'll never understand a press release with no social sharing capability. I will never understand that. If someone can convince me otherwise, please help me better understand. Make it easy to share with social media buttons. We're all far too busy to copy and paste. I mean, could you imagine having a right click and copy and a right click and paste? Exactly, should. Tools for creating awesome content. Canva.com. Any Canva fans in the house? That's like some graphic design stuff. I believe that image right there was created with Canva down the right-hand side. Meme factory. In the middle of a crisis, if I had a public relations agency, I would be creating memes that would be putting out the flames as much as possible. If I was on the opposing party, I'd be spraying kerosene on these memes. But that's just me. That's the world of public relations. It's your guys' job to help everyone, the public, discover the truth, right? Or no, that's the media. I'm sorry. Meme-matic creates custom memes and Over, which is a very streamlined application, smartphone application that allows you to take images and put words on top of them. So hashtags, your brand, the brand name, the Twitter handle, whatever it may be. These are the simple things that I'm talking about, that if we're at a polo event and covering it and our client is Moet Champagne, well then Moet's in there, Polo's in there, my PR agency's in there, my bow tie's in there, the hashtag's in there. It's all a nice little collage that's all put together that just looks neat. So we post it, and people share it, and then guess what? When we're done, and we go back to our team and we say, let's go write a recap about what took place at the Polo weekend. We've already got some images, we've got some content, we pull up a hashtag, we're going to take the content that's already been created, dump it into a story. Storify, I didn't put this in my deck, great application, I don't know if you guys have used it or not. Storify, you log in with your Twitter or your Facebook account, and then you can go and search for content on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, search by user, hashtag, and then you just drag and drop the content right into your little story and write about it with a little title there, and then you click publish, and it tweets everybody's content that you may have used and says, hey, we used your content, Sebastian tweeted about you in a Storify, and what does that do? That makes somebody go, wow, I'm going to share that. They shared my stuff. I'm going to do that too. Awesome. Awesome. Especially in the world of PR, Storify is awesome. You know, I finally stumbled upon Storify, and the reason I got so excited about it is because I would spend, so you bring me out to an event, we do the red carpet stuff, we're interviewing, run around with the camera, my team's out there tweeting, posting the whole program, and it's content. And then I get back to the office, and we sit down and go, okay, the event went awesome, lots of content created, let's put the story together. Well, I didn't put two and two together until I had a platform like that. I'd be slipping through my phone, going back to Facebook, where was it at? We're trying to find all this content, and then I find Storify where you can just search for the hashtag, you can search for the user, and I'm like, cue the hallelujah chorus. Number two, you got to pay to play. No one understands this. There's no special sauce. My book's not going to show you how to advertise on Facebook for free. Facebook is an advertising agency. Has been from day one. They're not stupid. They're smart. Facebook keeps on changing. That's so we don't mess it up. They're really smart. They're so smart. No one gets that though. They changed the layout again. They're ruining my life. I'm so over it. Okay, we'll delete your account, which you're not able to do. 3 basic ways. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this, but if you're not, let's just recap real quick. You can boost your post. Facebook makes it real easy. There's this big fat button on the bottom of each post that says boost. $5, $10, $20, whatever you want to do. You can boost the post. That's how you're going to get into the news feed. That is the only way into the news feed. And it's still debatable whether or not $5 is even getting you into the news feed. So the good thing about online advertising and where we're at these days is you can start and stop and figure out what works and what doesn't work. Promote your page. How do I get more likes on my page? Well, we're not going to buy them, because then when you get called out, you've got even more of a PR disaster for your client from buying fake people from some remote area in the country where people, or the world rather, where people doesn't even look like a real person. It is a marathon. It is slow and steady. Wins the race. My buddy Gary Vaynerchuk says, I got sprinter's clothes on, but I'm a marathon runner. That's the problem. Nobody wants to wait. We want it right now. I'll pay $40 for a whatchamacallit bar if I can have it right now. That's where we're at. It's just too easy. Or run an ad on Facebook. It's really easy to do. Anybody running an ad on Facebook? Okay, cool. Awesome. You know you can start ads in real time, like that. So in the middle of a crisis, ad. In the middle of a promotion, ad. Middle of an event, ad. Promoting an event, ad. Video recap from an event, video recap from an event, ad. Picking up what I'm putting down. We got to pay to play on Facebook. Most of you knew that already, but I still get the question on a daily basis. How do I get more likes to my page? And how do I get people to read my stuff? You got to pay to play. Number 3, don't abuse hashtags. I'm not saying that PR professionals abuse hashtags. And I don't know what was going on here with Why Desta, but she went hashtag crazy. She wasn't done yet either. This was a comment, and then we got to go in right here. Right there. So this is a phenomenal example of what not to do. Now, hashtags, do they grow your following on Instagram? Sure, we're going to close things out by talking about Instagram. So I'll get a little bit more into that. And I know we're all Instagram crazy and we like Instagram, but there's a right way and a wrong way of being able to do things. There's an easy way for people. Remember, as quick as people tune us in, they tune us out. As quick as they tune your client in, they tune them out. As soon as they tune your agency in, they tune them out. That unfollow button, that block button, that back Alicia button, it's not there yet. It will be. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about putting social media in the back seat. My friend Gary Vaynerchuk says it. Anyone familiar with Gary? Gary V? Write him down. V-A-Y-N-E-R-C-H-U-K. Gary Vaynerchuk. I read his first book, Crush It, 5 years ago. The antennas went up and the rest is history. The guy is just incredible. He's got 2 agencies in New York and San Francisco. When you do your research, he's crazy, over the top. He's a wine guy that parlayed all of his success from wine into digital. And he's got 2 agencies on the East Coast and the West Coast with over 300 employees. He's a thought leader, gets paid 50 grand a clip to get up and drop F-bombs and talk about digital media with corporate America. It is awesome. So, putting social media in the back seat, it's an afterthought. And the reason that I'm driving this point home is that I just did a training for a PR firm 2 days ago. And I said, by a show of hands, how many of you, and it's just us, so let's tell the truth, just us and Periscope, put social in the back seat? Everybody raised their hand. I was like, I thought maybe there would be a couple here, a couple there. It's an afterthought. It's not a priority. You don't get to the office every morning and go, how do we get this story published? How do we get it pitched? How do we put this fire out? Oh, let's make sure all of our Facebook and social channels are on point. I would think that those are the lifeblood of getting a story out and getting people to communicate back with you and being able to put a fire out, start a fire, whatever the case is. Social needs to be at the forefront of that. Gary said, social media is overthrowing governments in the Middle East. Do you really have the audacity to think it's not affecting your business? I think that's brilliantly said. You can't argue with that. We knew we had Osama bin Laden on Twitter before we knew on CNN. News breaks. Newsrooms, the traditional media sits on social media all day to find out legitimate news so they can go and break it. I think that you guys as agencies and public relations individuals should be at the forefront. Don't put it in the back seat. Because what happens is it shoulda, coulda, woulda. I believe that as a business and brand, if I'm sitting down with a public relations firm and social media, should we do that too? It's kind of a, well, is it really going to get done or is it not going to get done? When I say muddy the waters, I mean that it's not something where, we do that too. And then when I sit down with a client where it's not happening, well, I hired a publicist, they said they were going to do this, it was $5 grand a month, we never got a mention, they posted for us one time on Facebook, it was a disaster, and can you fix it? I come in to fix what was supposed to be a successful PR campaign most of the time. What's at the forefront? Social media being in the back seat. There hasn't been a post in 2 months. What? This is where we're at. This is where the eyeballs are. Did you know that the average person is not more than 3 feet away from their phone at any given time? Did you know that? The average person checks their phone at least once an hour. I'm like, what? We are digitally addicted. We post something, and then we sit back and we wait for that shot of dopamine that goes right to our brain for that first like that says, you know what, I'm pretty freaking cool. You see that post? 52 likes. Nailed it. Leverage brand new technology right there. We're still rolling on Periscope over here. What's up, Periscope? How you doing? How you been? How's your mother? Please stay away. Periscope trolls. That's the only downside to Periscope are the trolls. And trolls are people that hop on and call you an ass clown in the middle of your Periscope when you're doing a talk. One of those deals. So and I bring that up for specific reasons. So when you're Periscoping something for a client, you got to make sure you can block them out. Don't turn the comments off. That defeats the purpose of Periscope. Show of hands, who knows what Periscope is? Besides that thing that pops up out of a submarine. Okay, cool, awesome. PR knows what's going on. All right, so leveraging new. And for those of you that don't, I'll just give you a quick explanation real quick. We're Periscoping right here. That's a live stream directly from my smartphone. It allows me to broadcast live from anywhere. I highly recommend having a Wi-Fi connection. Watch it, and people watch and interact with messages and hearts. So I'm sitting here streaming everything, and people are probably commenting and tapping the screen, and likes are coming up, and the whole line. They can swipe the screen to the right, share it with all their followers. They can tweet about it. And then after the fact, I can utilize this. That's the main reason for doing it. Plus, I want my following to see the talk, but it archives the video for me. Now, they haven't figured out the whole horizontal. It's all vertical video right now, which I think friends don't let friends use vertical video. But that's how the platforms, because that's how people hold their phones, I guess is what I'm told. But allows you to Broadcast live with wherever you're at. I think this is incredible for client events. I think this is incredible for public relations in general. Because guess what? It just goes back to being able to bring social buzz into an existing media feature that's being shot and then released later on. What about the real-time stuff? You know, God forbid the building across the street is burning down. I guarantee you I will Periscope and have that coverage down before the first fire truck shows up. I think that's valuable stuff. I think that absolutely revolutionizes the way PR, media, and real coverage is done, and how news actually breaks. This allows it to break in real time. You can also watch other broadcasts, you can watch replays, you can pick your specific area of the world to be able to pick, I want to go to Brazil and see what people are scoping about there. You can choose the map feature. It's really easy to use. Download the Periscope app, log in with your Twitter account, and you're off to the races. So we're Periscoping right now. I'll tweet this out later. Catch.me, catch with a K, catch.me. Logs you in with your Twitter account, your Periscope credentials. As soon as I'm done with this and the broadcast ends, it will automatically tweet it and post it out to my Facebook page and say, hey, did you check Sebastian's live Periscope out on catch.me? And it allows me to archive that. Plus, it saves it to my phone, so I'll later on, I've worked through the whole vertical video that gives the 2 black bars. It was a lot, giving me cold sweats and wakes me up in the middle of the night, but I've worked through it because it's still content. And let me tell you how valuable that content is. So in the morning, I do morning motivation. I do a morning motivation Periscope, get people all fired up. It's very self-serving because most mornings as an entrepreneur, you want to just, you want to punch a baby and eat your pillow. So I get up and I said, hey, hold on a second, maybe I can motivate people. I've been the gift of encouragement. Let me start this morning motivation. Well, it really started to grow. So people were like, if I don't do it, people are like, dude, what's up with the morning motivation? I called into work today. Great, awesome. So I do that first thing in the morning, and then I try to do my social media sucks scope in the afternoon. And social media sucks scope allows me to feature brands that, well, suck at social media. Not to put them on blast and be the TMZ or Perez Hilton. Perez, if you're watching, you the man. So are you, TMZ. So are you. They really do run the trash bag PR world. The reason I do that is for consistency. And every day there's trending topics that are taking place. Plus it keeps me in consistency with creating content. So I do the social media suck scope. It happens in the afternoon. Well, a couple of weeks ago when they caught, or they didn't catch him, when El Chapo broke out of jail and his tunnel and the whole program, it wasn't an inside job, I'm sure. And then Trump announced his candidacy on Periscope. So as all this started to take place and Trump started to ruffle feathers and try the media and punk him, it was awesome. I brought all these trending things up that were taking place with Trump and El Chapo. So I put Social Media Suck Scope, episode 4, Donald Trump and El Chapo. I mean, 3 days later, 350 views on YouTube and still growing. What does that show us? Not that someone found my Periscope, but that someone found my Periscope that I then uploaded to Facebook and to YouTube right after with all of my information on here. The reason I'm doing this on a daily basis, every time I'm at an event, every time I'm scoping something like this, people reach out and they say, hey, we saw your Periscope. We have an event coming up next week. We need an MC, and we also need you to bring your team to Periscope. My team's not always my daughter, but it's her last Friday of the summer, so I mean, there's no sleeping in. We're going to Dad's Talk up in West Palm. She's like, this sounds amazing. Embracing new technology also makes you look like the cool kid to your client, too. I mean, they already think you're cool because they're your client. But being able to go in there, have you heard about this Periscope thing? And you go in there and you start a Periscope, you Periscope with them, and people join the room, and they start liking, the hearts start flying all over the place, and you show them how it works, and you talk about the upcoming event. In addition to having our video team there, and Sebastian on our step repeat interviewing people with his bow tie, we're also going to be Periscoping things live, and we're going to be able to interact. I mean, we're talking about some really cool content, Mr. Client. Get excited. They go, this is great. Why? Because it's not just, well, we pitched them, but they didn't show up. They said they'd be there, but they didn't show up. I'm referring to the media, right? You've got to have a little bit of backup with that. A little bit of backup is leveraging media outlets that you can own. Every PR agency needs to have a YouTube channel, a Periscope account, a Twitter account, an Instagram account, a Facebook page. All of these things set up talking about what you guys do, telling a story about what you guys do, helping people better understand why you are, in fact, the go-to source for what you do. You guys are creating your own media outlets. This stuff is free to do. You've just got to be able to do it. Because if you have all this set up, when you go to your client, how much easier is it to convince them? You got to be a product of the product to sell the product, right? If you come to me talking, let's do social, and you're not doing social, I happily should. Customer service in social media in the C-suite. I mean, granted, the C-suite has been a tough crowd when it comes to social media. You know, it goes a little something like, I've been running this company for the past 30 years, you're not going to tell me to start doing that. I'm sorry. It's been very difficult, right? As the tide continues to change, the guards start to go down. 55% of the C-suite now value social as customer service. Why is that? Does anybody know why?
It's a customer touch point.
And nobody wants to pick up the phone. That too. That helps too. I do a lot of social media and customer service training, not because I woke up and said, you know what, I need to start training people on social media and customer service. Because companies have customer service departments. Twitter's an incredible way to resolve issues. It's an incredible way to thank a customer, to talk to somebody. Facebook Messenger, incredible way to communicate with a brand. You're talking to them. Someone's there. Comcast. Here we go. Comcast. I hope you guys are watching, because I'm about to go in. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's Xfinity now, right? So I moved a couple weeks ago, and they sold me everything under the moon, the security program, the TV, the Wi-Fi. I'm like, all right, I'll take it, let's go. We'll be there the Friday they can move in. I go, awesome. Typical South Florida Friday morning, torrential downpour. Comcast guy's like, can't install in the rain, sorry. I go, okay, but don't go anywhere because it's going to be sunny in like an hour. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it, don't worry, I got you. And he never showed back up. So the next day I'm like, oh, they'll probably just show up today. I had faith in them. I had faith in Xfinity. And they didn't show up. And then I waited the next day and they still didn't show up. And we waited a week and they still weren't there. And I work from home. I run around my whole office is by. That's the hub there. Thankfully, there was some Wi-Fi floating around somewhere. I don't know whose it was, but thanks. And 2.5 weeks later, Xfinity finally shows up to install everything. Well, I don't stop with this stuff, especially a large company like that. And the thing about it is, my buddy Frank Elias had started at Comcast Cares in 2008. They were one of the first front runners to start customer service as a large brand. Somewhere along the line, in between 2008 and 2015, they dropped the ball. Because no one was listening. I was like, Comcast, hashtag Comcast sucks. Go on Facebook. Anybody out there think Comcast sucks? Holy cow, people are bananas. Nuts. So I'm like, usually I tweet or say something like that, and someone from corporate calls almost, shut this guy up with a bow tie, right? They call me immediately, and no one did. So I continued to tweet. And then I messaged them on Facebook, and she kind of had a little bit of an attitude. Sir, we said we'd be there Wednesday. I was like, oh, okay, screenshot. So, meme factory. So another week went by. They finally got there, installed everything. I think it was Sunday. Somebody called. This is a great story. I'm going somewhere with this. Somebody finally messaged me on Twitter, DM'd me, and said, did someone ever call? No, they said, we're going to have someone call you from corporate tomorrow. That was on Monday after they saw. We're going to have someone from corporate call you tomorrow. I said, awesome. When they call, tell them to ask for Mr. Blue because I'll be the guy in the corner holding my breath. Okay. So they never called, and then I DM'd the person again, whoever it was. I always put initials, whoever those people are, and I said, still no call. He said, we're really sorry, Mr. Rusk. Somebody finally hopped on and continued the conversation and said, I'm really sorry. Can I call you right now? Yes. Yes, you can. Pick up the phone. The guy calls me. What's happening? This is Pete from Comcast. I'm from corporate, and we are in Philadelphia. I work on the social media team. And I said, Pete, I need you to sit down, buddy, because I'm about to go in. And it's not about you. It's just about the way things should be done. And you're on the social media team. So I just got to be able to effectively communicate this message. So after I got it all out, and took a deep breath and got some water, he's like, I can't say that I disagree with a lot of that, but still, we are still turning the tide from the old school to the new school, and we are aggressively trying to make that happen. He said, what happened, Sebastian? I said, well, here's what happened. It's been 3 weeks and no Wi-Fi. How do you feel with Wi-Fi? He's like, all right, cool. Listen, is everything connected now? You're not connected. That's what we're all good. He goes, excellent. I'll log onto your account. Looks like there was a move-in charge, there was a this charge. Oh yeah, you get a charge to walk in your front door with you guys. And he said, we'll go ahead and square all that away, the balance, the new stuff, this, that, and the other. And by the way, I saw, based on your Twitter profile, because it's up to date and current like everyone's should be, that you wrote a book called Social Media Sucks. I think this might be something good for us to get internally here, because if I can get my hands on your book, then I can get it to the higher ups in the C-suite, the ones that we're having a tough time getting our message to. I said, not a problem, I'll drop a copy in the mail this afternoon. In fact, I'll send it to you. He goes, for real? I was going to ask for a link so you can buy it. I go, nah, don't worry about it. He goes, in fact, as soon as I get it, I'm marching right into the higher-ups, and we're going to see what we can do. Do you travel? I go, anywhere an airplane goes. He goes, well, we'd love to have you come in and do an in-house training with our Comcast social media team. I go, oh, I love to do that. Somebody's holding me back. So anyway, needless to say, they did make it right after 3 weeks. But the bottom line is someone stopped and they made a telephone call. No one does that anymore. That is that's what's happening with social media and customer service now. The conversation is starting online, someone's going crazy and running their mouth and going bananas, someone conveniently shuts them up and moves it to a direct message goes to a telephone call goes into doing something, giving something, saying, because when I called and said, I'm going to need a whole month credit for this disaster, I had some rep go, first of all, sir, you are not going to get a full month credit. That is what's not happening today. I'm like, listen, I'm sorry about your job and your day, but anyway, it took being able to further that conversation. So I strongly encourage, don't just use social media to communicate with journalists and the media. Use it for every angle possible to be able to make sure you're effectively communicating with those that you're connected with. It's an incredible tool. We'd be here till next week if I shared all the incredible opportunities that have come out just by starting Periscope or tweeting somebody or posting something. You never know. One time, somebody tweeted that Mark Cuban was like the Windows phone better than the iPhone, and I retweeted and said, of course he does, because that's part of his contract. And then he tweeted me back and he goes, oh, this isn't a contract, I don't get paid for this. He goes, I just evaluate the phones. You think I care about being cool? And I'm like, well, he tweeted me back, that's cool. And somebody else tweeted, of course he doesn't care about being cool, he wears Skechers. It was awesome. So you never know who you're talking to, you never know what conversations you're getting into. Donnie Wahlberg, any New Kids on the Block fans? Blue Bloods, one of my favorite shows. I think he's a brilliant actor. I love that show. He's active on Twitter. I was like, Donnie, great job on Blue Bloods. Keep it up. He responds like, thanks, brother. I'm like, that's awesome. There's no more. Twitter has broken down all the silos and replaced the gatekeeper. Thank God we don't have to deal with that anymore. You no longer have to ask for permission. I'm going to contact whoever I want. It's up to them whether or not they want to contact you. But Twitter, how many people are active Twitter users and really just get things done with Twitter? Really, I swear half of the speaking gigs I get booked for, MC gigs I get booked for, are because of Twitter. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable how that all goes. I look for events that happen, and whoever's the CEO, I start at the top. Find the company, find the CEO, follow him, and I'm like, love to be at your next event. And they're like, who's this? And next thing you know, it gets passed on to the right person because it's easy to connect everybody within the social space. People take social seriously as a customer service tool, and you guys should too. You definitely should, especially, I don't know if clients communicate with you, probably not, it's probably via text, and I get that. A lot of our agency clients want to communicate with me, they want to talk, and they don't have time to sit and send a tweet. But if it is a brand or a company that has the masses that they're marketing to, by all means. How are we doing on time here? Wow. Okay, cool. So tools for increasing, I'm going to provide, this deck will be available on slide deck, or SlideShare, slide deck on SlideShare, there we go, working on the big words. Tweet PI, gets you new followers. Not really sure how. I used it a few years ago and it's changed a lot. So if you log in with your Twitter account, search for keywords. Twitter's the most powerful website on the planet. Did you guys know that? It really is. Search.twitter.com will change your life. If you've never been there, use the advanced option because you can search for words, exact words, leave these words out, negative tweets, positive tweets, this location, this area, this zip code. It gives you everything that you want. That's called social listening. No one does that anymore. No one's listening. We're just talking. We're talking to figure out what we're going to say next. We're not talking to listen. But as a brand, we should be, especially with our clients. FameBit, you can find online influencers like myself. BuzzSumo, content generator, allows you to go in there and create content, find content. What are we going to talk about? Allows you to type in a few keywords on what you're doing and be able to generate content on that specific subject. Fresh Ideas, that URL is a little long. I got it from another talk I heard a couple of months ago. Riddle.com, you can create quizzes for content. These are great. People, questions are awesome. You ever ask a question and people, careful what you ask for. You do it through a quiz too. Social Bro, find customers via Twitter. That is a Social Bro and Social Mention are social listening tools. You can go in there, you can set specific alerts, type in specific keywords. You can get tweeted, you can get a text message, you can get an email. It's kind of like an expanded version of Google Alerts. Everybody familiar? And let's finish things off with Instagram. I believe Instagram is growing at a rapid rate. That's probably why Facebook bought them. They're no dummies over there. But as far as the brand perspective, so who's supposed to utilize Instagram? I mean, if I'm a technology manufacturing company and and my products aren't really like something that can be, is it a fit? Probably not. But I think that a majority of individuals that are in this room right now are probably working with brands that are looking for exposure. And that's what this little Instagram platform allows us to do. I like it for a couple reasons. Number one, because smartphones are not losing popularity. I live in Miami, and I saw a guy. He was an old Cuban dude. He was chilling with his hat, his cane, and he had his flip phone like a boss. I took a picture of him. I'm like, this is awesome. This guy's got a smartphone and he doesn't give a shit. Customers will see 100% of your posts. Not some of them, not a little bit of them. Now we have to pay to play. You're gonna have to pay to play eventually, so you better get in now because it's next. They've already opened it up to large brands. There's already a way to market things on a very low level for like $10 per post that they're doing, but they're warming everybody up to say free, 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 free. Yeah, we don't want to do that anymore. You have to pay. Short wrap. Engagement is much higher on Instagram. Anybody get more likes on their pictures on Instagram than they do on Facebook? Well, number one, you're not paying for them. Number two, Alex Wells in the house. Number two, you're not paying for them on Facebook. That's why they're not getting them. Most people are. It's just easier to scan through pictures and look and like and post and comment and reshare. The repost app's really cool. The third-party app allows you to go in there and repost other people's content. You should be doing that as an agency. You need to be taking your client's content and resharing it on behalf of your agency, because remember, all of your social media platforms are your media outlets. They're yours, nobody else's, and you control that. You don't have to worry about the news van showing up or getting bumped for the story because something bigger happened. You can build a targeted following through hashtags. You can also lose a targeted following with hashtags. And we talked about that a little earlier, the right way and wrong way of doing things. These are some really popular hashtags. They always have been. The reason I bring this up is because I heard that a couple of years ago and they're still pretty popular. I don't mean, you need to get that? I don't mean take these for every post that you do on here, but experiment. I do have a friend, friends of mine that went down to Exuma in the Bahamas. I say that right? Exuma? Where the pigs are. The pigs swim in the water. They live on the island, they swim in the water, they drink Coca-Cola. It's really cool. So their Instagram handle is paradise_n_pigs. And they've grown this thing after vacation up to 12,500 followers now, with an average of 500 to 600 likes per pig. Yeah? Go look it up. Who doesn't want to see a swimming pig drink Coca-Cola? I mean, that's some awesome stuff. But they grew it, and she's a school teacher, and he's a realtor. I'm like, what are you guys doing with that? I'm like, well, we were thinking about maybe doing, like, starting a company where we take boat trips, take people to see the pigs. I'm like, well, is there an economy down there? Like, what's going on? Like, we chatted about it, and so they've just continued to pursue their Instagram. If I had that Instagram account, I'd be hitting somebody up who's booking Exuma constantly and getting clients down there and being able to leverage. Because what I would do is I don't need Instagram or Facebook to create an ad campaign. I need a solid account with 12,000 followers with a high engagement that allows me to take those pigs and put Coca-Cola's logo right below it as I fed the pigs Coca-Cola. That's what I've been doing, because they have a couple bucks to experiment on these crazy ideas. These are just some outside the box things these are the things that keep me up at night that I don't understand how people are not currently embracing. This stuff's readily available to us. It's just a matter of us doing it. If you're doing it as an agency, if you're doing it as yourself, if you're being a product of the product, you can better convey that message to your clients. And they're going to believe you want to do it as well. Instagram allows you to be creative. That's the coolest part about it. It doesn't have to be just a picture. I like Instagram's layout application that allows you to put together a layout and a collage of pictures. Because again, I can put the client's logo, I can put me in a bow tie, I can put the Social Buzz logo, I can put the hashtag, I can put a picture of the event, I can put a video, Pick, Play, Post is another app, allows you to put pictures and a little video clip, which is cool. How neat is that, huh? A couple pictures, a little video, allows me to tell a story in 15 seconds, very quickly. Vine allows you to tell a story in 6 seconds. Big brands are spending large budgets. Brands like MasterCard and Trident and Chevy. My buddy Zach King is genius. If you haven't seen him on Vine, guy is unbelievable in the post edit. He goes and shoots the stuff, edits it, but it looks like magic. Really, it really does. But Chevy does stuff where like the Chevy will be driving down the street and like he jumps in real quick, and it does some crazy stuff that they're doing in 6 seconds. And effectively communicate the message, and really are able to, on the larger scale, because they're putting some large budgets in, really able to see a return on that creative content. We all want to see cool stuff. We don't want to see the same stuff over and over and over again. Your brand, you can brand yourself through the content. As an agency, you can brand yourself. As an agency client, you can brand yourself. However you want. It's your party, boo-boo. Rock and roll. But just make sure you're at the party and you're actually doing something. This stuff's moving so fast and it's just getting started. This is a sleeping giant. This whole social media thing. 10 years ago, if you told me you were following me, I'd call the police. Now it's the norm. It's the absolute norm. And it's not going anywhere. We just got done with the national anthem on a doubleheader. That's how long this game is. It really is. And it might rain, we might have to continue the game the next day. We're just getting started. It's a sleeping giant and it's growing more and more and more. And instead of going into the panic mode of shoulda, coulda, woulda, why don't we just get ahead of the curve right now? It's only going to make your lives a lot easier as an agency and be able to effectively communicate to your potential clients and existing clients exactly what it is that you're bringing to the table. Number 7, it makes your brand easy to search for. If you've got a client that focuses on cheerleaders, I don't know how that would work, but I was a cheerleader in high school. Don't tell anybody though, all right? You got that, Periscope? You can search for what, if your client is in the golf business, obviously I'd be on Twitter or on Instagram search, Twitter search, Instagram search, Facebook search, looking for golf stuff, golf hashtags, golf conversations, golf memes, things that are unique and engaging conversations. Just because someone's competition doesn't mean they're not going to find your content interesting. There's an opportunity. I think all the silos have been broken down a little bit as far as, stay in your lane. This is what we don't want to talk about them. Their competition, I mean, we can spy on their competition now, and it's okay. It's not shady. IFTTT, anybody? Oh, I love when no one raises their hand. This will change your life. Does anyone know what IFTTT stands for? You're not allowed to answer. It's a programming language, I think, called If This, Then That. It was derived from a computer or a script to say if this, then this. And that's what it is, IFTTT. What this allows us to do is go in and take a picture on Instagram, post it, and then when I click the Twitter option to share it, it posts it as a twit pic, not just a link. So it shows up in the stream. Okay? Now, IFTT allows you to create recipes. That's what they're called. You can do anything. I take a picture on Instagram, I want to automatically upload it to Dropbox. Every time I put a calendar invite on my calendar, I want it to email this specific. There's all kinds of recipes that you can make up, but you just log into each account and you go in there. I love you guys a lot, so I'm going to hook you up real quick. And this is my friend Sarah Evans, and she's awesome. If you don't follow her on Instagram or online in general, you should. @ PR Sarah Evans. She's a digital correspondent like myself. She wears really awesome glasses. I wear really awesome bow ties. She works with large brands to effectively communicate their message, and she's brought to events like South by Southwest and all kinds of large digital events. She hosted the Webby Awards this year on the red carpet. These are her favorite recipes right here. bit.ly/Sarah is cool. I made that up this morning. And that's her Twitter handle, @HairService. These are her favorite recipes. If you search for her name on SlideShare, she's got a whole deck of her favorite tools. This girl is a tool maniac with social media, and she does a really, really great job of it, and she's definitely a product of the product. But those are her favorite recipes. These will make your life easier. This does not mean automate it. This does not mean set it and forget it. Does anybody just schedule their stuff and forget it? Don't do that. Because when you schedule it, the content goes out and someone talks about you, good, bad, or different, no one's there in the end zone. They're throwing the ball, no one's there to catch it. So we want to make sure that it's 80-20. 20% automated, 80% human. Behind every B2B is a C, behind every B2C is a B. Behind every B2B and B2C is an H. You know what that is? A human. You want to mix things up with your next story, you want to mix things up with your next feature, you want to put that fire out for good with the crisis that you're working on. Make sure you're a human being and communicate like a human being. How does it feel when you interact with a brand and they're human? You're like, that's a real person! It makes you feel good. Everybody got that? You have the deck anyway, so we'll keep down. Thank you. So, I want to ask you some questions.